I am back. Got myself together. Went to go see my mom, well, my Umi, and then went to the store to buy some stuff to make some more of those energy balls. Like I said, I'm gonna make them with coconut. So I'm gonna talk briefly about my life with lupus. This isn't gonna be very much details about lupus. I do at one point want to talk about like signs, symptoms, treatments, and my thoughts, but right now I'm just gonna talk about my life with lupus. So I can remember being sick since I was a little girl. For sure under 10 years old, having pain and like severe pain, consistent pain, and it would come and go for weeks at a time. And when I would get sick, it lasted longer than most people were sick, maybe max like 3 days where they really felt down. And I would feel it literally head to toe. My hair falls out. Primarily these areas is where it falls. This one's been growing back, so that's nice. But you know what? I have curly hair, so I can make it look like it's not falling out. Because my ponytails used to be like this, y'all. But anyways, also in the back and then the middle is where it falls out. I've only had the lupus rash 2 or 3 times in my life on my face. I've had other rashes on my body. I was actually diagnosed with lupus nephritis. But I always questioned these symptoms, but Umi would always say stuff like, oh, everybody's in pain. So I was like, oh, this is normal. I mean, my skin would hurt. And I lived like my whole life, well, till I was 21, not knowing that I had lupus, just like everybody goes through this. So suck it up. And I did. Then it got out of control. January 2011, after I had Osito, it got like I could not at all open my hands. It was just way too painful. Like the joint pain was out of control that January. He was born January 23rd. And I want to say the day we went home, I almost dropped him actually on the bed. I was getting him out of the bassinet and gonna put him on our bed. And I like couldn't hold him. And thankfully it was like only so far, but you know, I couldn't hold him. So I told his dad like, hey, something's not right. So I went to many doctors. No one could diagnose me. So many doctors, so many labs. Oh, maybe you have arthritis. The worst part was, because at that time I was still with Christopher and Carmen's father, but he kind of, I don't know if he thought I was making it up. Mind you, he was an alcoholic, so who knows what he actually thought. But it was awful. It was really awful. So my sister Giovanna came. Her and Aisha were staying with me. And one day, like I literally couldn't get out of bed. Could not walk. Ambulance took me to the hospital. My sister was like, I think you have lupus. And I'm like, what? But I was actually working in a medical office. It was like an imaging office. And we had access to pull people's labs from LabCorp. So, you know, I got my labs. And I was trying to make sense of it, Googling what stuff was, asking other doctors that we worked with. And they were just like, oh, it looks kind of autoimmune. Well, anyways, I carried that with me to the hospital when Giovanna went with me to the hospital. And one of the ER nurses diagnosed me with lupus. She's like, oh, honey, you have lupus. I know exactly what to give you. They gave me meds there, and she gave me like a month prescription. It helped significantly, actually. I could walk. I had more energy because I was a mess. I was falling asleep in the middle of the day. Like the pain was just so severe. And this took months. So that was January. I don't even know what month that was, but way later. I don't know. Or no, I didn't get diagnosed till the next year. Okay, I did not get diagnosed till the next year. Yeah, because Giovanna didn't come till that December, that January. What's her name? Raffensperger? She's great. She's so great. I love her. And anytime I've seen her, so a quick little bit about her. I worked at the Prescott Medical Imaging, and she came in. She always wore a mask. This is way before COVID, 2012, but she always wore a mask. So when she came in to do her mammogram, she's smiling like extra, like she was looking at me like she knew me, and I was just like, okay, like I don't know. Some people always thought I looked like Britney. I'm like, I guess the only two half breeds in Prescott, we look the same. Anyway, so I thought maybe, hey, maybe she knows Britney. And then she was like, you look so good. Mind you, when I seen her in the ER, I could not walk. I was crying in pain. Like I would rather have a baby, had my kids natural, would rather have a baby than the pain I was in. So I'm like, oh, and then she's like, it's me. And then she went like that and covered her face so I could just see her eyes. And I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, she was like, look at you. So they had given me hydrochloroquine, and they gave me, you know, the usual steroids. I don't remember what pain meds she prescribed me. It was like a short temporary prescription, so until I got into pain management. I found a primary doctor who was like, I'm going to be straight up with you. I don't know how to treat people with lupus. I've only met one other person that was like a colleague or something, and I don't know much about it, but I'll try and get you to the right people. So they referred me to rheumatology. Rheumatology ordered labs. During the labs, they found out, you have kidney disease. So then it was like the nephrologist was like, oh, you're like, I don't know, I was probably already like stage 3 or something crazy. And I was just like, whoa, maybe, yeah. So they're like, oh, the lupus is what caused this, actually. So my kidney disease was caused by lupus. Then they wanted me to do maintenance chemotherapy to slow down the kidney disease and lupus. Guess what? Did not happen. In case anyone's wondering, don't let them fool you. Couldn't take it. I don't know how many rounds of chemo I did, you know, living that single mom life, kids, working full time. I want to say I had 2 or 3 jobs at the time, 4 kids. Life was lifing, and I was, one of my jobs, I was doing housekeeping because my friend started working there. She told me that she got good tips. So I was like, might as well start doing that too. Cleaning the rooms, throwing up from chemo. It was a mess. So then they started me on Benlysta. Benlysta was okay. Definitely did not put, again, my lupus was very, very active at that time. Did not put me into remission. Did it for, I don't know, months, maybe 6 months, who knows. Stopped that. It was all right. Started getting worse with my kidneys. I had changed my diet completely, and lupus went basically into remission. Very, very small symptoms, very rare. But then I don't know what happened that then my diet went back to normal. Things started flaring. Kidney disease started getting worse. I started working more. Oh, my son almost died. Okay, a lot happened. Wasn't really taking care of myself. Kidneys got worse. So then, hey, let's get you a fistula because you're going to have to do dialysis. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do it now. I'll do your little surgery. Got my fistula. I'm glad I actually did, because by the time I had to emergently go on dialysis, my fistula was mature already. So they didn't have to do the port on my heart. But anyways, started getting worse. Kidney doctors suggested 2017, on top of getting a fistula, I want you to do another round of chemo. Yeah. I was like, nope, not doing it. Well, I was married, well, engaged at that time, and trying to be a good old fiance, listen to my husband and now ex-husband at the time. And I did it. And guess what? Your girl did not get better. I got worse. Yeah, kidneys got worse. Super sick, super dehydrated. Guess what happens when you get dehydrated? kidney failure. So still 2018 comes, I'm still sick. I notice I'm getting like super, super puffy. Fluid retention, symptom of kidney failure. Super puffy, super big. I was hardly eating and I was gaining weight. At the time, I didn't know it was, fluid. I was still working out and was just like, why am I not losing weight? Why am I so like puffy? Like right now, I don't know if you guys can tell, like the puff is real. Usually when I'm at my dry weight, I'm pretty chiseled on the jawline. This fluid thing with kidney issues, I feel like that should be like number one. When you start retaining so much fluid, especially in your legs, go get them kidneys checked. I literally avoided dialysis to the exact last possible moment, had to go to the ER, drove myself because I had my kids with me, drove myself there, got a ticket. No, I didn't get a ticket. I got pulled over and the police is like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I was all kinds of on the phone telling everybody what was going on because it was real bad, right? And the kids were with me, so I was trying to see if the husband would go meet us at the hospital. We have no family in Arizona, nobody. It was just us, so me and my whole tribe going to the ER. And I was like, no, let me not tell it myself. The cop's like, oh, you ran the stop sign. I was like, I did a California stop. But I was like, dang, they would have gave me a ticket for sure. And then I was like, I'm on my way to the hospital, and he did not believe me. So he followed me and really seen that I was going to the hospital. So good job, guy, not giving me a ticket. So yeah, my labs, I have to pull those up for you guys one day. I should have been dead. No, I should have been dead, but I didn't. June 19th, 2019 was the first day, 2 days before my birthday, that I started dialysis. Dialysis surprisingly puts most people who have lupus into lupus remission. I will still not say I'm in full remission, but at the same time, a lot of symptoms of chronic kidney disease are similar to lupus symptoms. The joint pain that I get, I'm like, oh yeah, lupus flare, okay. When my scalp will hurt so bad, I'm like, oh, my hair's gonna fall out. So I was doing hemodialysis at the dialysis center, hated it. I was throwing up like The Exorcist, like it was bad. It was so bad. I just could never finish my treatments. So they're like, oh, we have an idea. Like, let's put you on home dialysis. And I'm like, I'm not doing all this myself. Like, no, sorry. They're like, oh, we have a better one that's better for your heart, better on the body. You could do it wherever. We know people who do it on vacation. And I'm like, all right, sounds cool, whatever. You have to get surgery to put, it's peritoneal. So they put a catheter, so like a tube in your peritoneum, and then a piece comes out and you have to hook up to the bag. And I did the one that wasn't on a machine. I did the gravity one because, oh, it's better. And you hang it to the IV pole, the bag, and then there's a drain bag that you put on the floor. Well, guess what happened? Anything that could go wrong always goes wrong. Story of Lavette's life. So got infections, multiple in the peritoneum, went basically septic at one point, did not die, obviously. And then I got two, not one, but two hernias because of the fluid. Like, so you put this big bag of like sugar water basically in there, and it swishes around, pulls the toxins, you drain it out, and then you put another bag in. Well, I got the hernias, so then I wasn't draining, and they were like, that has nothing to do with it. It very much in fact did. I had to get the surgeries, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this life. I'm done with dialysis. My quality of life is not getting any better. I'm trying to be compliant with this kidney stuff. They denied me for transplant. So I was like, I'm done. Like straight up, I'm done. Had a talk with the husband and the kids. And I was like, I'm just gonna die. So they're like, you're only gonna last like X amount of weeks not being dialyzed. And I was like, okay. Months later, I was getting sicker and sicker, but months later, I'm still not dead, right? But I can feel that I'm getting sicker. So I'm like, I'm gonna go die in Oxnard with my family and friends so my kids aren't alone. Yes, I was married, but those who know. Ivan was there, but he wasn't there. Don't come for him because he took care of me when I was dying. So please don't come for him in the comments. But he was 6 years younger than me, didn't have no kids. That's another story for another time. So anyways, stop seeing the doctors, stop wanting to live. I'm like, we're gonna go die in Oxnard. I could hardly walk, I could hardly breathe. I was like a bones, like I was just super skinny, right? Looked super sick. I didn't die. I was in Oxnard like 2 weeks, and every morning I'm like, oh, I'm still awake. So then finally I'm like, well, we can't just mooch off my friend. We weren't mooching because I had money, and it was like pre-pandemic-y, so they were giving stimulus, and I was still working, but not very much, and just doing taxes and stuff. But I'm like, I guess I'll go back home. So I went back to Arizona. Couldn't eat. All that time, even in Oxnard, I could not eat. Anything I ate, I would throw it up. But I was so like starving, so starving. And I was throwing up to the point it was just acid at that point. So like I would ask Ivan, like, just give me a cracker. And I would slowly chew little bits of one saltine cracker, and that was like my whole day meal. I would still throw it up. I would eat like one grape, throw it up. But I kept trying to eat, hoping like my body would absorb some type of nutrients. Still not dead. So then I started being able to eat a little bit more out of nowhere. I was mostly doing like a liquid diet because my body would tolerate the liquids. It was 100% like organic that I was doing, getting smoothies. I was going to organic restaurants in Prescott when the kids and Ivan wanted to eat and stuff. And then I'd just get, like I said, something light, small, like a smoothie, crackers, bread, like eggs. I started being able to eat eggs. So then because I was using oxygen though, I was like 24/7 on oxygen. I was so weak that my thoughts went away, sorry. I was so weak that I would have to be in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. And I didn't know why I couldn't walk. So one day I went to the dialysis center because I want to go see my favorite at-home dialysis nurse. So I went to go see her, and she started crying. She's like, this whole time we thought you were dead. And I was like, nope, I'm still here. So she's like crying, and she's like, can you please come back? And I was like, no, I don't want to know when I'm going to die. Like, I don't want to do this. It makes me sick. Well, I want to see where you're at so we can know about how long you have. And I was like, nope, I'd just rather die in my sleep or something. And she's like getting mad at this point. Like, do you realize? So I was with Haley May, and she looked at me a certain way, and I was like, okay, I'll do the labs, but do not call me. Do not tell me what they are. She's like, okay. Girl, let me tell you, I did not even leave the hospital because I would do my labs at the hospital. I took Carmen to one of her counseling appointments. They're like, oh, mija, I'll drop you off, and then across the street is the labs. Do my labs, I'll come back and get you. I didn't even leave the hospital, so they drew my labs, like the blood work, and then I had to do the urine analysis, and I couldn't pee because at that time I was already like, I would pee, but then I wouldn't pee. So anyways, they were running literally down the hall like, wait, 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 don't go. And I'm like, why? They're like, what are you gonna do right now? What were you doing? Are you okay? They're asking all these questions. I'm like, I need to go get my daughter and I gotta run errands and we gonna ride bikes. Like, I don't understand. Because at this point, I'm just trying to give my babies the best life possible, because I'm like, I'm gonna die. So any moment I could, I'm forcing myself. They're like, your blood is just water. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you don't have blood in your body. It's basically just water. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. What do you mean? You need a blood transplant. You're gonna die. And I was like, no. So they're like, trying to find ways to make me stay there. And I'm like, I don't think legally you guys can make me, because I'm stubborn, whatever. Call me stupid, whatever. And I'm just thinking, like, I need to go get Carmen. So they're like, we'll go get her. And I'm like, she ain't finna get in the car with you. So I called her counselor and I'm like, hey, here's the situation. I'm at the hospital. Can you bring her here? Or no, I told her to send her walking. And she was like, why do you, like, you sound like something's up. So I just straight up told her and she was like, oh, I'm taking her. Is that okay? Like, do you give me permission? I said, yeah. So she brought Carmen and I called Ivan. He came right away from work. I didn't want to tell the other 4 kids. So I'm in the hospital. Like, I don't know why they're making such a big deal. So they're like, we're going to wait to talk to you until your husband gets here. And then Carmen, if it wasn't for Carmen, I would have just made the choice to die. But she just gave me the saddest look. And when Carmen looks at me like that, oh, it breaks your whole heart and it makes you realize what life is about at the same time. So Carmen gave me that look and she was like, Mom, please. And I was like, okay, I'll fight for you. So they were like, straight up, if you don't come back to dialysis, guess what? You don't get this blood and you're going to die. So I'm like, man. So then they started the blood transfusion. I was allergic to it. Had to get another one. Had to get 4 bags of blood because I had no blood in my body. Started back on dialysis. Still on oxygen. Still hardly could walk. April 2022, I'm starting to get better. So things kind of took a turn for the better for the most part. I ended up in May moving back to California to take care of Umi. And then guess what? They're like, hey, do you want to be put on the transplant list? I'm like, for what? Like, I'm thinking the same in Arizona. I'm already denied like 3 times in Arizona. Me and Dr. Nika, and y'all could tell her that I did not like her. She was rude as hell. And she was very trying to be textbook. And I'm sorry, but if y'all know me, y'all ever seen my labs, I'm not textbook by any means. You cannot treat me like a regular patient because my body's just all kinds of crazy. So anyways, that's why she would deny me all the time for transplant. But guess what? Oxnard got me on that list so quick. But then this other female got me off the list because she wanted to do all these things to my heart, trying to scare me. And guess what? They did all these tests and everything was fine with my heart. They did this little surgery in my neck. They did another surgery in my groin to get to my heart, all this stuff. And they're like, you're fine. Guess what? You get to go back on the transplant list. So June 11th, my birthday of 2024, your girl was put back on the transplant list. So I'm on the transplant list. But then this goes just right back to what I was saying. I don't want to be on all these meds. I know medicine causes way more issues than it does good. And let's pretend that wasn't true. I don't have anyone to take care of me because I can't do anything. And I know me, I'll do it. But I'm not willing to go through all this trouble and hassle of getting a transplant and then ruining it by not resting or driving or whatever. So here's the predicament. Something new is also going on. My blood pressure drops every freaking dialysis treatment almost. And drops, I mean, I'm blacking out and stuff. So I don't know what's going on. They say my heart is fine. I don't know. My hair is falling again. My blood pressure is always low. But then I'm on this new health journey, eating organic 100% as best as I can again, and cooking all my meals and slowly going to being a vegan. Like I said, I already cut beef, so next will be chicken. Well, they told me I'm basically on the top of the transplant list. And like I said, last week they called me. When I wrote this was a couple weeks ago now. Well, at the beginning of the month. But anyways, not sure if I want it, guys. But my prayer is, God, whatever your will is for my life. I mean, my fear is that I'm going to be here. It's going to be the middle of the night. They're going to be like, all right, we got your kidney ready. Come get it. And then I go drive myself there. And they're like, where's your support system? Where's your team? About that. People want to say they're a team, and they really aren't. If someone wanted to, they would. Point blank, period. Anyways, y'all check out Dr. Bobby Price. He has this book called Vegetation Over Medication, and that book is changing my whole life. And his videos here on YouTube, Dr. Bobby Price is the truth. Check it out. Now I know y'all gonna be like, oh, because he promotes veganism. But there's a reason behind it, and the reason makes 1,000% sense. So check out Cowspiracy. That's a documentary. I don't know what apps or whatever y'all got, but sorry, I got some hairs flying. Cowspiracy, Forks Over Knives, another documentary. And then I just know, like, God's natural design, he designed our bodies to basically kind of heal themselves for the most part. I think as long as we feed it well, as long as we're not putting toxins in it, alcohol, tobacco, I mean, there's so many toxins. The food, I mean, basically, I want to say 99% of everybody's probably sick just from the food. Then you go to like makeup and hair products and shoot, I don't know. I'm sure this, whenever I bought it, probably had some sort of cancer label on it. I feel like everything does now. I don't know. So hopefully in about 12 months from 2 months ago or a month ago, I'll be a vegan. Y'all will be the first to know. Like I said, this coming week, I should be getting the CT and checking in with rheumatology. And then I might be getting transplanted. I don't know. Like I said, you can't get one if you don't have a team, and I don't have one. I don't have a support system. None of my kids live with me anymore besides Christopher, and none of the 3 in California drive. I mean, that's Christopher, Killian, and Haley. So, and you know, my Umi doesn't drive and she's sick. So who knows what's going to happen. I can't get a transplant and take care of her. So maybe I'll just deny it. Maybe I'll just get off the list so someone else can move up. Pray for me. Let me know your thoughts. Like I said, I'm going to eventually do a video about lupus signs and symptoms and treatments. I still want to know more about other people's experiences with lupus, if they have it, if they know someone. I actually have met a lot of people who have lupus symptoms, but I've never been diagnosed with lupus. So most autoimmune diseases kind of look like each other. And then autoimmune diseases usually come in pairs. So I think, I don't know what year it was, 2012 or 13, I was also diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Then this year, they tried to say they think I have ALPS. Well, my daughter has that. Haley has ALPS and lupus. She was diagnosed with those in 2022. We did the blood work the day we were driving back to California. It's a lot of diseases in this family, a lot of cancer, a lot of everything. And it's, check out Dr. Bobby Price. Check him out. Let me know what you think in the comments about him, about any of the documentaries I mentioned, about lupus, about even kidney disease. Like I said, I just want to know what y'all think about it. um, your experiences with it, if you have any. Maybe you haven't, maybe you don't. I do know most people don't know until they know, and that's either dealing with it or being the significant other or relative of someone going through it. So, yeah, and I see some of my friends, my good friend Elizabeth, she's like my sister. She's like my little sister when we're in Arizona. I love her so much. But I met her through a lupus support group. Anyways, when I see her flaring, I'm like, wow, like maybe my lupus isn't that bad when I see her symptoms. But I know she's told me she sees my symptoms and thinks the same. And everyone's lupus is different with similarities. Like there's something in common, but it just be affecting us so different. Like, you know, Elizabeth, her skin is primarily affected. And I've only had skin issues some like here and there, and it's never been that bad. I think Haley kind of gets more of that, the skin stuff, than I do. Um, but yeah, that's my life with lupus. And, you know, I just strive and thrive through it. You have a choice to make when you have a chronic disease. You either throw a pity party for yourself, which I know people who do that who aren't even sick, or you boss up and you deal with it and you keep living. And I don't even take pain meds for it. I don't. I just been in pain my whole life that y'all ain't gonna catch me out here addicted to no pain pills, because that's all they do. They get you addicted. And then you're still in pain. You got to take higher doses, stronger meds, and you're still in freaking pain. Or you're walking around like a zombie. Like, who wants that? So I'm like undoing everything I did the past 2 weeks, like since Umi's surgery, maybe not 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, I don't know. Because I was eating bad when Haley and my sister were here, and I'm like, no more. I did have pizza when I met up with my brother on Friday. Because it's like I hadn't seen him in like 15 years, well, however long, 2009. So it was like, oh, whatever he wants, that's what we're getting. So him and Osita wanted pizza. And I'm like, how can I say no to my baby brother? Like, I just couldn't. So I'm back on the eating well train, and hopefully I'll get out of this flare I've been in. My joints have been killing me. This morning was very hard getting out of bed. But the warmth from the shower helps, you know. But fluid overloaded, I'm in pain. But I'm gonna go make energy balls right now and add coconut. Super excited. So keep striving and thriving.